everybody can mute themselves, that'd be great, and we'll get started. Okay, everybody. So today's topic is whiteboarding. And you may be wondering what that really means. It's just like what you would think of as like having in your classroom. You have a whiteboard that you do lessons on, and that you teach your students with. And we're going to look at today digital whiteboards and how you can possibly use them with your students. So I am going to share my screen at this point. Down, there we go. Okay, so you are now looking at my screen. You can see I'm sort of on a Google jump page here. And the first whiteboarding app I want to show you, and I've shown some of you already, and I think some of you in here use this. It's Jamboard, Google Jamboard. And it's another one of those Google tools. It's free. So you can either go to jamboard.google.com, or you can even get to it right from your Google Drive, and I'll show you what that kind of looks like. You would, just like you would start a Google Doc or any other thing, you would hit New, maybe More, and then Jamboard is right here. So it lives in your Google Drive, which is really nice. So here I am opening up a Jamboard. So it's pretty, I like Jamboard because, well, one, it's free, and two, it's pretty simple and pretty easy to get started using. It's very, you may see a lot of buttons that are similar in a Google Doc, and up here you would title your jam, my jam, whatever you want to call it. You can then, this is the great part, it's collaborative, so you can add in the email addresses of the student or students or teachers you want to collaborate with on. Maybe this is a brainstorm session with teachers, and maybe you're doing a lesson one-on-one with a student or a handful of students, and you just type in their email address like you would in a Google Doc. Make sure they have edit access. Otherwise, they can only view. You kind of want them to have edit access. Well, maybe you don't all the time, but I'm going to show you why. Oh, it doesn't. I'm going to cancel this. So we have a few tools. There isn't a whole lot, but I think it does enough, and it makes it easy for those who may be overwhelmed by more than one. So you have your pen tool. You have pen, marker, highlighter, brush, so paint, and then you don't have a lot of colors, but you have basic colors that you can work with, so you can choose your colors, and then you can kind of with your mouse scribble around. I recently discovered something, and it was thanks to Zach Eastman, if he's on here. I'm gonna look at my grid. Because about something called a drawing tablet. And there's a wide range of them from very, very expensive to like $40. And it basically takes the place of a mouse. It's like a pen that you plug into your computer that takes the place of a mouse that you can kind of draw on the tablet. So we all know it's kind of hard to like draw with our mouse because it's just, you don't have as much control. But the ones that I found don't work with Chromebooks, which is kind of a bummer. So if you have a PC or Mac and you want to use that, you can, but if they don't, I haven't been able to find one that works with a Chromebook yet. Okay, so moving on, you have your eraser, you can erase things. You have your, you can select, maybe can't do that. And then you have sticky notes. So sticky notes, you have a variety of colors, or you can leave it blank. But note here. And it'll leave these notes, and you can, when you share with a student, the student could, so you could do like, for example, I'm thinking of elementary, maybe you want the students to sort something. You could have like your sticky notes up here and then other sticky notes down here that are maybe pink, that they have to sort under the right columns, or even like high school, you might be able to do that. I know there's a sped teacher. I don't know if Carrie's on here. She's been using it. I don't see her. And she's been doing that as well with her, and she teaches high school. And so she kind of sets up the board ahead of time and then works with the students, and they do a lot of categorizing. But if you share this board with a student and they have edit access, so you could set up and then they can click and drag these notes around to wherever they want them to go. And so the teachers I know that are kind of using this also kind of, they jump onto a Google Meet with their students, and then they get on to the Jamboard so that they can still hear each other and talk to each other. So they can talk back and forth, they can do the lesson, and they can work on a Jamboard together, which is really cool. You can also search for or upload your own images. So like maybe I want to do a lesson on flowers. You can find flowers and you just select it and you put it in there. And there's your flower, and then you can resize it. So you could have images that you want kids to sort, or just visuals to help with your learning. And then there's a laser. So when you're collaborating with someone, they may not understand what you're talking about and where to go in the board. The laser is great because you can click and circle something like, I'm here, do this part, and then it kind of like disappears. So it kind of highlights the area you want, and the kids can see it, like do that. You can also choose from a variety of backgrounds. So maybe you want them to graph something. So you have graphing paper, you have line paper and dots and so forth. And then up here, you can have more than one Jamboard. So more than one whiteboard. So you could set up several different jams. Here's a new one you can start, and here's your other one, and you can go back and forth. So that's pretty much Jamboard in the nutshell. It's really easy to use, it lives in your Google Drive, and it is easy to share with your students. Okay, and I see something in the chat. Oh, Linda, thank you. She just said, amazing. I didn't know it was there. You always teach me new things. Well, you're welcome. I'm glad we could share this today. So the next one tool I'm going to show you is called Explaineverything. So this is not free. Oh, Karen has a question. Is there a way to organize your Jamboards into folders? Yep, just like you would a Google Doc. So you could create a folder in your Google Drive and then start Jamboards in that folder. So it's pretty much functions in the similar way of organizing your Google Drive. It lives in there. Yes, Alina made a good point. If anyone has a touchscreen Chromebook, so some of you I do know have a touchscreen Chromebook, which is really, really awesome, or a touchscreen laptop of any sort, you can draw right on the screen with your fingers. So that gives you a lot more control, because drawing with your mouse is tricky. Okay, so we are now going to explain everything. This costs money, and I can't remember off the top of my head how much it costs, but right now during COVID, it's free, so you get to test it out. And this is one of those products that I've seen around for a long, long time. And when it first started, it only worked on like iPads, and so I never really looked into it much. And now they have a web-based version, which is really, really awesome. And you can create the same idea. You can create whiteboards. I'm going to start a project. Oh, wait. Right. I'm going to go into this one. I'm going to pretend I started this one. So because it's free, you only can have 3 boards at a time, apparently. But you can reuse boards and stuff like that. Or you can delete the board you had. Okay, here's another cool feature of Explaineverything. So you don't have to jump on Google Meet so that you can speak to the student. You can speak to the student right through Explaineverything. So if I were to join with my microphone, now I can talk directly to that other person. So then I can invite people with this invite button. I can either type in their names or I can share the link. And then when they're on, I'll see them here. So you can see my name here, and then I can see someone else down here. And we both can talk to each other. And I can also mute and unmute. And I can, as the one who created the board, I can mute my students as well, or the person I'm working with. And here's another great feature of Explain Everything is you can record your Explain Everything lesson. So you can hit the record button, you can do the lesson with a student or yourself, and then you want to send that lesson out, you just send that lesson out. It's really kind of cool in that way. So it has a bit more functions than just Jamboard, but there's workarounds with Jamboard. It also has a bit more tools. So there's just, you can upload files, you can add clip art, you can put in audio, you can take pictures, where Google Jamboard you can only upload like image files right now. And then they have different tools, very similar, except they have like a shape tool, which is nice. And then they have a text box tool, which is kind of like what the sticky notes is, but it's a little different. So this is pretty much Jamboard in a nutshell. You can get a free account for a little while right now during COVID and play around with it if you wanted to, but it's gonna, in the end, you're gonna have to pay for it after all of this is said and done. So I guess it depends on preference, and I can't remember how much it is, if that's something you want to build into your budget or not. Okay, and then the last one is actually a tool, and I'm going to an extension that I added to my Google Meet, and I put that in the newsletter as well. I'm going to join the helpline. No one's on there right now because we're in. Okay, so you're looking at me in a different Meet window, and I want to show you this. So I downloaded an extension called Meet Classroom. It's not connected to Google Classroom. It's totally different. And when I download the extension, it kind of lives up here where all extensions kind of live. But after you download the extension and when you log into your Google Meet session, you'll notice two extra buttons down here. The raise hand feature, which works similar to the one up here. So if I could raise my hand, but it kind of keeps you in the bottom right corner versus over here in the top left. And then the whiteboard feature is this. So now I'm in the whiteboard. Can you all see that? Yeah. So it's similar. You have your pen options, you have your eraser, like that. Oh yeah. Wait, that's not what I want. And then you have some extra tools here. Oh wait. Oh, yep, you can increase that. And then the finger one, so then you can add a text box. Next. Oops, I can't type right now. Here. Save it. So then you can see the text box here and you can move it. It's kind of hidden in the corner. You can move it around. And then there's another one for math, which is nice. And I don't know what to type here, but apparently you can type in math formulas. It has all the characters you want to do. And it has sort of a table of like how to make these things happen. So it shows you shortcuts. And then that is it. So this one is not collaborative. That is the only thing. So this would be good if you were meeting with a student and you were just doing a little lesson on the whiteboard, but you didn't want them to interact with the whiteboard at all. But they can't come in here and play around with the whiteboard with you. It's not interactive. Okay. Those are the 3 things that I have for whiteboarding apps. And I know that went pretty quickly. I feel like I might have gone through this fast. So is anyone in here? I want to ask. I think there are a couple of you in here, but I don't want to call on you unless you're not ready to be called on, that have been using one of these tools. Cindy's. You want to unmute yourself and talk? You're muted right now.
Trying. If it's not one thing, it's another. I can't figure everything all out. Goodness.
Yeah.
So I watched your Lunch and Learn last week with the Jamboards, and I actually played around with it this weekend, and I did 4 lessons for different kids, using the sticky notes mostly. I made an interactive, like one child is really struggling with her numbers past 20, so I put a whole bunch of numbers on there, and I instructed her to count the numbers in the random order they were at, and then to put them in order, and then go back and count them again, or read them again. And then I actually used the Jamboard to in one of my lessons today that I videotaped for my kids, because it's easier than using the little whiteboard that I have here in the classroom, but it is hard to write on. But I have a touch screen, so I could use my finger on that. And I also did it with sticky notes for a sorting activity with some kids who have some above and beyond where they are in our learning. So that's just how I used it. It was actually, once I figured it all out, except I forgot to make it shareable. So remember to do that.
Yeah, I ran into that too, where you can't just share the link. Only the people who who you've already added by email for edit access can access that link. So make sure you have to literally physically type in their email address, which is whatever. Yeah.
So Eric, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I think you just answered it with what you just said, but so I do this activity called I Spy, where I present it as an option on the menu board. I think only one kid has taken the opportunity for it yet. So I'm going to show it to you.
Yeah.
Is that okay? I'm going to try at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, hang on. And because I'm actually curious to see what you think my next step would be, or how you would change this to make it better. Sorry, I should have been more prepared.
You're okay. While you're doing that, I think there was somebody that mentioned something. I'll just go. Linda says, it seems that we could use the sticky notes for our assessments. Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential and possibility, and with what you can do with all these boards. So yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I have it in front of me. Now I've got to figure out how to share it with you.
Yep. So you go down to the bottom. You click at the bottom where it says Present Now of your Google Meets screen.
And now I'll show you my screen.
Yep.
All right, can you see that?
Yep, it's coming up. Yep.
Okay, so now I got to just get familiar with it again. Okay, so I was trying to have them get 5 clues to try to guess the mystery word. And so they move the clue number 1, and then but they also have to flip back and forth between the portable word wall.
Okay.
Which I share with them, and then they write it. So they keep doing that, and then after the 5th clue, there's that. But yeah. I didn't like, and then I call it like a discard pile kind of. So they write their guess, but there's no way to type in here like a text box.
They could type that in with a sticky note, but it's an extra step, right?
Dude, I don't think I have that ability to type in a sticky note. Oh wait, no, I guess I just did. Yeah, I guess I do.
Yeah. And you can make the sticky note not have a background color, because it could be clear, like it's transparent.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Because then.
But I ended up sharing this Jamboard with each of them individually, not knowing if they were even going to pick it. And that was kind of, I didn't mind because I was watching a TV show, I guess, but.
Right, because you have to make a copy of it a bazillion times.
Is that right? I do, right? There's no way to like do a massive.
Yeah, I haven't explored whether you could put this in Google Classroom. I don't know if
Well, I'm still trying to get familiar with Google Classroom. So if I share something in Google Classroom, when a child opens up the assignment, is it individualized for them, or is it the first person that gets it's going to fill it in, and when everybody else?
You have to choose that. So, right, there's like 3 options when you do an assignment in Google Classroom, and we can meet sometime if you want. But one of the options is everyone gets a copy. So you just like literally click you select the option and it makes the copies for you. It's really easy. And
okay, I'll have to look at that because I feel like I'm spending most of my time in the morning just literally troubleshooting, which is a riot that I'm the one troubleshooting.
Right.
It's a riot. But I, sometimes I'm successful, but I feel like I'm making more work than it's supposed to be.
Oh, you can. So I just attached a Jamboard to an assignment in Google Classroom. Okay. And then in the drop-down menu, it still gives me the option to make a copy for each student. So it looks like you can do that.
Okay. And maybe if you
want to meet and we can look at that together, let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to try it.
And then at some point I will ask, I could spend a good chunk of time picking your brain, but like I'm trying to have the kids use the portable word wall with Cami. And then like mark up the word wall to narrow down their choices. Like if it says I'm a 2-syllable word, then they can cross out, the 1-syllable words. But sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. So I'm wondering if what did you call it? That everything.
Explain everything.
I wonder if that's like the better format to do this interactive.
Yep.
Lesson, because they wouldn't have to flip back and forth, right?
No. And you could also save like your Cami documents. There's ways, I don't know if you can do it right in Cami, but there's ways to turn like the parts of a PDF into like an image file. So you could essentially upload it into this as an image. So that could be your background, and then the kids are writing on the image.
Okay, it worked last week for that, and then this week I did a word sort, and it didn't work for them. But I can't keep up. Just can't keep up.
You just do the best you can.
All right, well that's helpful. I'll keep exploring. I'll probably schedule a time with you just to maybe take a half hour of your time and go through all my questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all right.
Let me know.
All right.
Okay. Yep. And Cindy said she put hers in Classroom as well. Awesome. And you assigned it to that one individual student. So yeah, you can assign Google Classroom assignments to individual students or groups of students, and not everyone as well, which is nice. Does anyone else have any questions?
I have a question again about sometimes kids are saying they're turning in assignments. It'll come up on Google Classroom like turned in, but I don't see it. So, I don't know what that's all about.
Okay, so why don't we make a time to meet and you and I can kind of figure that and figure that out together.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. All right. Any other last questions? No, it looks like it. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for attending today. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me or any of the coaches.
Thank you.
Thank you.